Now we'll see the next topic of this circle chapter, that is arc of a circle. Now what do you mean by arc of a circle? Just observe the figure. See here, C is the center of the circle. Now AB is any chord or secant, we can say. There is a line which is passing through 2 points A and B, and because of this line AB, the circular margin is divided into 2 parts. If we consider these 2 parts, for example, from this A to B, this is called as arc. And how to explain this arc? You can take one more point on the circle and you can describe it as arc AXB. Similarly, on the opposite side of line AB, Y point is taken on the circle. So this is the another arc AYB. So here we are getting 2 arcs, that are arc AXB and arc AYB. That means the circle is divided into 2 parts. You can see here both the parts are unequal. Now one is smaller in size, another is bigger in size. In bigger size, you can see that center C is also lying, and such type of arc which is bigger in size is called as major arc, and the smaller arc on its opposite side, that is AXB, is called as minor arc. So I am writing here arc AXB is minor arc and arc AYB is major arc. Now in the next figure, if you see, line PQ is passing through the diameter PQ. See, it is passing through center, means PQ is a diameter. And because of that diameter, these circular parts are divided into 2 equal parts. And when the parts are equal, here also we can explain them as arc PXQ and arc PYQ, but as they are equal, they are called as semicircular arc because they are formed by the diameter. So here we can say that arc PXQ or arc PYQ both are called as semicircular arc. So they are equal in measure. Now in the third figure, if you see, in this A and B, these are any 2 points. If these A and B are joined with the center of the circle, then CA and CB are the radii of the circle. And because of this radii, the angle is formed between this ACB, between the with the center. So such type of angle ACB is formed, which is called as central angle. Central angle. Now that central angle, if I am considering its measurement is theta degree. So here you can see that if we join AB, we get segment AB, or because of this angle ACB also, circular part is divided into 2 unequal parts here, arc AXB and arc AYB. Here also arc AXB is the minor arc and arc AYB is the major arc. Now minor arc, how we can explain its measurements? Minor arc measurement is always equal to its corresponding central angle. So, here if you see, measure arc AXB, then it will be theta degree. Because it is theta degree, then arc AXB is also theta degree, because central angle is theta degree. Now, if we see the measures of minor arc or major arc or semicircular arc, see that for the complete circle, the measure of the complete circle is 360 degree, and this 360 degree again it is divided. If you see in this figure, AXB and AYB is the bigger part, here exactly equal. So, in semicircular arc, if you see, 360 is divided into exactly 2 equal parts. So, their measures will be exactly 180 degree. So, arc PXQ 180 degree, arc PYQ is also 180 degree. But if you see in the first figure, their measures, arc AXB is minor arc, so its measurement will be less than 180 degree, and arc AYB is major arc, its measurement will be more than 180 degree. So, you have to remember those measures of the arc also. The important property here, you can see that measurement of the minor arc is always equal to measure of its corresponding central angle. Okay? So, remember those properties of the measures of the arcs. Measurement of minor arc is less than 180 degree, measurement of major arc is greater than 180 degree, measure of the circle is 360 degree, and measure of semicircle is 180 degree. Now, we will see what is the meaning of congruent arcs. Now, see in this figure, there are two circles which are having the common center O, means these are the concentric circles. Now, A, B, C and D, these are the points lying on outer side, outer circle, and E, F, G and H, these are the points lying on inner circle. If we draw the radii AO and BO, then angle AOB is 60 degrees suppose. Similarly, angle COD is also 60 degree. That means central angle AOB and COD are equal in measures, means central angles are congruent. If we see the central angle AOB and COD, each is 60 degree, that means they are congruent. Now, if we consider the arc AXB and arc CYD, they are related to corresponding central angles. As the central angles are congruent, then we can say that arc AXB and arc CYD are also congruent. So, these are the AXB and CYD are congruent arcs because their central angles are congruent. Similarly, if you consider the inner circle E and F, these 2 points are joined with the center and we get angle EOF, which is the central angle. Similarly, GOH is also the central angle. So, here arc EF and arc GH will be congruent. Now, if we see the measurement of this arc AXB is 60 degree and arc CYD is also 60 degree. Similarly, if you consider arc EF is 60 degree, arc GH is 60 degree, but which are the congruent arcs? Arc AXB is congruent to arc CYD and arc EF congruent to arc GH. Now, why we cannot say that arc AXB and arc EF are congruent? No doubt they are having same measurement 60 degree only, but their radii are different. For arc AXB radius is OA and arc EF radius is OE, which is smaller in size. Even their measures are equal, we cannot say that these two arcs AXB and arc EF congruent because of the different radii. That means congruent arcs means what? A congruent arc should have equal measures and equal radius. Radii should be equal. So, this you have to keep in mind. So, here we can say for this figure, arc AXB is congruent arc CYD, even arc EF is congruent arc GH, but arc AXB cannot be congruent with arc EF even they have the equal measures because they have different radii. Now, another property related to measures of the arcs is what? Property of sum of measure of arcs. Now, you know that complete circle is having its measure 360 degree, and how we can do the addition. Now, if you consider the arc ABC, arc ABC and arc CDE, if we add them, arc CDE, then we get the complete arc ACE or ABE or ADE. Any one point out of this B, C and D you can consider here. So, that is arc ABE. So, in this way you can add these arcs, but you cannot say that arc ABC plus, if you are considering arc BDE, cannot be added because in that BC portion will be common. So, if the arcs are having separate lengths, their lengths are not overlapping on one another, then we can do their addition. Here we can also say that property, that is the arc addition property. Property of sum of measure of arcs or arc addition property. While solving the problems we can apply this. Now, if you consider arc ABC, arc CDE and arc AE, the sum will be total 360 degree. So, remember this property also. Next is the theorem which is related to the arcs and their corresponding chords. The theorem states that the chords corresponding to the congruent arcs of a circle or congruent circles are congruent. Means how we can write the given and to prove? This is a circle with center B. Here we can consider the two arcs APC and arc DQE, which are the congruent arcs. And we have to prove that chord AC is congruent to chord DE. That means AC is the chord corresponding to arc APC and DE is the chord corresponding to arc DQE. Now, for this proof we have to join these endpoints of the chord with the center of the circle. That means all these radii we have to draw. Segment BA, segment BC, segment BD and segment BE are drawn here. Now, if we consider these two triangles, in this triangle ABC and triangle DBE, if you see that AB is congruent to BD. Why? Because these are the radii of same circle. So, here in the proof we can write in triangle ABC and triangle DBE. AB is equal to BD. Similarly, BC is equal to BE. The reason is what? Radii of same circle. Also, when the arcs are congruent, their corresponding central angles are also congruent. So we can write here arc APC is congruent arc DQE given to us, and therefore angle ABC is congruent angle BDE, and here you can write corresponding central angle. Corresponding central angle. Now once this information is proved, you can prove these two triangles are congruent by side angle side test. Therefore, so here I am writing triangle ABC is congruent triangle DBE. Side angle side test is the reason for this. And once the triangles are proved congruent, their corresponding sides are congruent. Therefore, segment AC is congruent segment DE. That means chord AC and chord DE are congruent, we have proved. So in this way, we can prove that chords which are corresponding to the congruent arcs are congruent. Now the converse of this theorem, if you consider, just opposite meaning of this, if the chords are congruent, then the corresponding arcs are also congruent. In that case, how you can prove? See here, I am just making some differences. Instead of these arcs, what is given to us? In the converse theorem, they may give this AC is congruent to DE. Now remaining radii you can write in the same way. So triangles will be congruent by side test. When the triangles are congruent, their corresponding angles are congruent. In that corresponding angle pair, you can consider those central angle ABC and DBE will be congruent. When the central angles are congruent, their corresponding arcs are also congruent. So you can prove arc APC congruent to arc DQE. So in this converse theorem, you can write the arcs of the corresponding to the congruent chords of a circle or congruent circles are congruent. So both the properties are important for the application while solving the problem. So remember both these theorems. Now we will start the practice set 3.3. First we will see the first question. Just you can observe it in your textbook also. See here, C is the center of the circle. Points D, E, F and G are concyclic. Concyclic means what? They are lying on the same circle. Angle ECF is given 70 degree. Major arc DGF is 200 degree given, and we have to find major arc DE and major arc DEF. So how to solve this? See here in this from the figure, how we can apply the properties which we have learnt before. Major arc EF is equal to its corresponding central angle. That means arc EF will be equal to angle ECF. So, you can write that major arc EF is equal to major angle ECF, measure of corresponding minor arc. That is given 70 degree. So, major arc EF will be 70 degree from given information. Next, we have to find out major arc DE. So, how to find out? Now, if you see, the full circle is divided in 3 parts: arc DE, arc EF and arc DGF. So, sum of all these 3 arcs is 360 degree, arc addition property. Now, substitute the values. Major arc DE we have to find out. Major arc EF is 70 degree, we have already found the value, and major arc DGF is 200 degree given. So, major arc DE will be equal to 360 minus this 70 plus 200 means 270 degree, and that is equal to 90 degree. Now, if we see the third question, major arc DEF, then it will be equal to major arc DE plus major arc EF by arc addition property. Major arc DE is 90 degree and EF is 70, so their sum is 160 degree. So, in this way we can apply the properties which we have learnt and we can solve the question. Now, we will see the third example from the same practice set 3.3. See here, in the given figure, chord AB and chord CD are congruent. We have to prove arc AC is congruent arc BD. How to prove this? Now, children, you have already studied about the arcs and their corresponding chords. When the chords are congruent, their corresponding arcs are also congruent. So, we will apply this theorem and we will solve this proof. See here, chord AB is congruent to chord CD given to us, and hence see chord AB is for chord AB corresponding arc is ACB, and for chord CD corresponding arc is CBD. So, arc ACB and arc CBD are also congruent, corresponding arcs of congruent chords. Now, we will split those arcs. ACB is a combination of arc AC plus arc CB. So, instead of arc ACB, we can write major arc AC plus major arc CB, and that will be equal to, again CBD is splitted in 2 parts, CB and BD. So, arc CB plus arc BD. Now, if you see both the sides, here the reason you can write arc addition property, means the same way we have splitted those main arc into 2 parts. Now, on both the sides if you see, arc CB is common. So, we will cancel this, means subtracting or cancelling this arc CB from both sides, will get major arc AC is equal to major arc BD, and when the measurements are congruent, the arcs are also congruent, that means arc AC is congruent to arc BD. So, in this way we can write the proof. Okay? Now, the next important theorem of this chapter is inscribed angle theorem. Children, first we will see what is called as inscribed angle. Now, just observe the figure drawn on the board. See here, O is the center of the circle, and in this figure you can see angle ABC. Here, angle ABC is called as inscribed angle. There are certain conditions for inscribed angle. When the angle is said to be inscribed, now if you see, vertex B is on the circle and point A and C are also lying on the circle, such that this arc AXC comes in the interior portion of this angle ABC. So, angle ABC is intercepting the arc AXC, which is one and only one. So, only one arc has to be intercepted and the vertex of the angle should be on the circle. Then we can say that ABC is the inscribed angle, and this angle is inscribed in which arc? That is the arc ABC. That means here we can see this arc ABC. In this arc it is inscribed, or also we can say that arc angle ABC is subtended by arc AXC. Means intercepted arc subtends the angle. Now, the relation of this inscribed angle and the intercepted arc is what? Major angle ABC is half major arc AXC. That is the theorem. The complete proof is already given in the textbook, and that is why I am not repeating it. You can see that proof properly. First, it is proved by taking one side of the angle is passing through the center, and then with the help of that the other two conditions are also proved. So, now you just remember that measure of the inscribed angle is always half the measure of its intercepted arc. That is the theorem, and this statement for this figure you can remember. Now, let us see the corollaries of this inscribed angle theorem. The first corollary is angles inscribed in same arc are congruent. Now, see in this figure, angle PQR and angle PSR both are inscribed in this arc PQR. Means in this common arc both the angles are inscribed, and their intercepted arc, suppose we are considering the point X here. Now, see how you can prove that angle inscribed in the same arc are congruent. Now, see, if you want to write this measurement of angle PQR, it will be half of its intercepted arc PXR by using inscribed angle theorem. Similarly, angle PSR is also half major arc PXR. When these both the angles are half of the same intercepted arc, that means they are congruent. So, angles inscribed in same arc are congruent. The second corollary is angle inscribed in a semicircle is a right angle. Now, children, you know that the measurement of semicircle is 180 degree. Suppose this angle ABC is inscribed in the semicircle, that means ABC is semicircle because AC is passing through the center M, that means it is a diameter. Now, in this case if you see that remaining arc AXC also will be a semicircle. So, angle ABC is half major arc AXC by using inscribed angle theorem, but arc AXC is semicircle means 180 degree measures. So, angle ABC is half of 180, that is equal to 90 degree. So, angle ABC is inscribed in semicircle and hence it is right angle. In the same way, we can also state that diameter AC subtend the angle ABC. So, diameter always subtends the right angle with the point lying on the circle. That is also we can explain. Now, the next two corollaries which are depending on the inscribed angle theorem only. See that when the vertex is on the circle, it is the inscribed angle. Now, if vertex is out of the circle, then it will intercept two different arcs, arc AXE and arc PYQ. Then what is the measurement of angle ABC? Measurement of angle ABC will be difference, half the difference between the intercepted arcs, that is half major arc AXE minus major arc PYQ. In the same way, if vertex B is lying inside the circle, then this angle ABC is not inscribed. Even in this previous figure, ABC is not inscribed angle. Inscribed angle vertex lies on the circle. Now ABC, if we want to see the relationship, this angle ABC intercept the arc AXE, and if we extend this AB and this CB on back side, then we get, suppose they meet the circle at point P and Q. So this angle ABC and angle PBQ are vertically opposite angles, and angle PBQ intercept the arc PYQ. Then what is the measurement of angle ABC? That will be half the sum of the arc intercepted by that angle and its vertically opposite angle. Half major arc AXE plus half major arc plus major arc PYQ. Half you can take out of the bracket as a common. So these relations also you have to remember, because you have to apply those formulae while solving the problems. Children, the next and one of the important theorem of this chapter is theorem of cyclic quadrilateral. First of all, I will tell you what is the meaning of cyclic quadrilateral. Now you know that quadrilateral is having 4 sides and 4 vertices. When all the 4 vertices of the quadrilateral are lying on same circle, for example, see in this figure, A, B, C and D, these are the points lying on the same circle. Means all these 4 points are concyclic, and if they join, we get the figure of quadrilateral ABCD. So in this way we get the quadrilateral ABCD, which is a cyclic quadrilateral. So what is the definition of cyclic quadrilateral? If the vertices of quadrilateral are lying on the same circle, then it is called as cyclic quadrilateral. Now the theorem states that opposite angles of cyclic quadrilateral are supplementary. Now you should find out which are the opposite angle here. Angle A and angle C, these are the opposite angles. Angle B and angle D are the opposite angles. And another thing, supplementary means what? The angles are supplementary means sum of their measures is 180 degree. So when the sum is 180 degree, they are called as supplementary angles. You have studied these 2 terms in the previous standards, supplementary and complementary. Complementary means the sum of the 2 angles is 90 degree, and supplementary means sum of the 2 angles is 180 degree. So here we are going to prove the opposite angles of cyclic quadrilateral are supplementary, and the proof can be proved by using inscribed angle theorem. Now see here, this proof is given in the form of activity in your textbook. So in the same way we are going to solve here. Given information is what? See here, quadrilateral dash is cyclic. So which is the quadrilateral here? ABCD. Quadrilateral ABCD is cyclic. Now prove that its opposite angles are supplementary, means angle B plus angle D is equal to 180 degree. Similarly, another pair dash plus angle C, which is the opposite angle to C? Angle A. Angle A plus angle C is equal to 180 degree. So, in this way you have to fill the blanks. Now, let us see the proof. Arc ABC is intercepted by the inscribed angle ADC. See in this figure, arc ABC means from A to C. This is intercepted by inscribed angle ADC, and therefore angle ADC will be half of the what? Angle ABC will be half major arc ADC. Major arc ADC, and this can be proved by using inscribed angle theorem. So, this is the reason. Similarly, see, dash is an inscribed angle and intercepted arc is ADC. Intercepted arc ADC, so which is the inscribed angle? ABC. So, angle ABC is an inscribed angle and intercepts the arc ADC, and therefore angle ABC is equal to half major arc ADC. Second statement, this is also we get by using inscribed angle theorem. I have used the short forms for that inscribed angle theorem. Now, major angle ADC plus major angle ABC, if we add them, angle ADC and angle ABC from one and two, if we add, then what will get? Major angle ADC plus major angle ABC. If we add them, then what will get? Sum of their right hand side of first and second, that is what? Half major arc ADC plus half major arc, just a minute, ADC is half major arc ABC. Here it should be ABC. So, here major arc ABC plus major arc ADC. Now, this half is taken common here, and inside the bracket we will get major arc ABC plus major arc ADC. See the first statement, again it is angle ADC is half major arc ABC. Then second statement, angle ABC is half major arc ADC. Adding these 1 and 2, we get right hand side half major arc ABC plus half major arc ADC. Half is taken common, so inside we will get the same. Now, if you add major arc ABC and ADC, we get a complete circle and its measurement is 360 degree, measure of a complete circle, and that will be equal to 180 degree. So, we get these angles are supplementary, and similarly the second statement, angle A plus angle C is also equal to 180 degree can be proved.